Age of Empires is freaking hard to play. The boars are important, but they like to kill your villagers. The deer don't listen to you and run far away when you try and kill them. And occasionally there are voyages on water that go way too far off course, and people make fun of you for years. And it's not just the strategy, it is also the technologies. And there are some confusing technologies out there, so welcome to the most confusing Age of Empires 2 technologies video. In this video, I'm going to discuss technologies that I feel are the most confusing. Some of you might actually be informed with this video, so this could help you. Others will just get to laugh along with how ridiculous this is. To start it all off, we are going to talk about War Galley. Now here, my friends, is a War Galley. This is a Castle Age ship. It fires bolts. It's a fantastic masterpiece of a unit in the game, okay? But here is an upgrade, also called War Galley. And you're probably thinking, well, that makes sense, right? Because you upgrade to it. Because there's the Feudal Age Galley, which you see here, and then you research War Galley, and it does that. But that's not all that technology does. The War Galley technology actually upgrades other ships. Now, it wasn't always like this, but the devs implemented this many years ago for balance reasons, and it actually is quite helpful and has brought us better water balance than ever. The problem is, War Galley is a unit type, and that is also a technology, and that could be very, very confusing for people. Combine this with the fact that some of the ships it upgrades are on the second page of the dock. It's just a whole big mess, and I actually made a video on it called AoE2 Docks Need to Change, and you could watch that too if you're interested. So anyways, I think it's pretty reasonable considering how confusing the docks can be in the first place, that War Galley has to be on the list of the most confusing technologies in AoE2. But the next one is even more confusing. Let's say you're in an intense battle against the easy AI and you're resisting the urge to use cheat codes like you've done every other time this week. You realize suddenly, oh my goodness, I've got 0 on gold. How am I going to get gold? Without gold, I will probably lose this game. You desperately look to the market, and when you look to the market, you can see that you could sell wood and you can sell food, which you've been doing, but unfortunately the prices are very low and you're still getting pushed back by the bots. You're stressing out, you don't want to have to resort to using how do you turn this on, and suddenly you see coinage. And that coin is made of gold. And gold is what you need. So what are you going to do? You're going to click coinage. The problem is, coinage is a technology that eliminates some tax when you send resources to an ally. This is a 1v1 game against a bot. There are no allies. And you're going to be down some resources because it is absolutely useless for you. But then the desperation continues. And when you need gold or you need money, where do you go? You go to the bank. So it makes sense. Click banking as well, right? No, banking is even more expensive. And banking removes all remaining tax when you're sending resources to an ally. This is confusing because these technologies are big baits, in my opinion, because they have gold on it, and also the names would seem reasonable if you were to just guess and not read what the technologies do. It would, again, seem reasonable that you would get gold from it. And to make matters even more confusing, the technologies are present even when they're not relevant. So whether it's a 1v1 or a team game, those techs are always there, thus making it very, very confusing. Now, I was unsure if we should include the next one, because it's not just an individual tech, but I do feel like we need to touch on how technologies interact with certain units in Age of Empires 2, so let's just throw it in the middle. Here we have a scout, and here we have a knight. Both of these units are on a horse. Both of these units are cavalry. You look in the blacksmith, you will see scale barding armor, which is armor for cavalry. And if you research this, this upgrades the 2 horse units. Now, next to those 2 units, we have a cav archer. And those cav archers are going to need armor like any other unit. It's a unit that's on a horse. He happens to have a different weapon, but it's not considered cavalry in the game, or at least it's just not upgradable, because in order to research armor for this unit, you would actually go for the archer armor, because it is a cav archer. When I started, I thought any unit on a horse benefited from the cav armor upgrade, right? It just kind of made sense to me. I mean, shoot, you even there's horses, and there's even like a freaking hoof on the little icon there, right? But no, that's not how it works. And it gets a little crazier too, right? Because then you have like the cav archer. And the Cav Archer then benefits from Fletching and Bodkin Arrow, which is Archer attack and range. Now, next to the Cav Archer, we've got a Conquistador. And the Conquistador benefits from the Archer class, even though it's not now shooting arrows. But it doesn't benefit from the Fletching and Bodkin Arrow with attack and range. And okay, my head is spinning now. This isn't too bad, T90, but I think I'm still with you. So basically what you're saying is if there's a unit that's on a horse that throws something that's not gunpowder, that it's going to be affected by Fletching and Bodkin Arrow, right? No, the Arambai exists. So yeah, it's just the way certain upgrades interact with the variety of units in Age of Empires 2 is very confusing. So I figured I'd throw that in there. Let me know, by the way, which one of these confused you the most when you started. For me, I would just make Knights and Cav Archers, and I would only get the Cav Armor, and my Cav Archers would die, and I didn't really understand why. We move on to one that was brought up to me when I polled my community about this, and this honestly didn't confuse me when I played, but I can't believe I missed it. Here we have some archers, and the AI, or the opponent, is so cleverly dodging those archers, and all of those shots are missing, due to the fact that one technology is missing, and that technology is ballistics. Ballistics affects arrow fire. Ballistics would affect archers or castles or ships, right? Any type of ranged projectile that is not a cannonball. However, if you look at the ballistics icon, there is a cannon on it. Like, obviously, with a lot of these things, if you read it, you can figure it out, and I've now played this game for so long that I know what ballistics does. But there's a cannon, and it doesn't affect cannons. I mean, okay, it does with Portuguese after another technology and all these different things. We don't need to dive too deep into that. That is confusing right there. And ballistics is a very important university technology to research. What were they thinking with that? I'll never know. And while ballistics is really confusing and ballistics is a really important technology, I still feel like there is one more technology that is way more confusing than ballistics. And that technology is heated shot. Here we have two groups of archers fighting. The upgrades are identical for these archers, except for the fact that one group is firing fire arrows, which in Age of Empires 2 is +1 attack. Even without knowing the whole +1 attack detail, you could be playing this game and you could suddenly notice, oh wait, I don't have fire on my arrows. That's probably pretty good. Let's try and get that. Now, maybe my brain's too simplistic, but hear me out. When an archer is shooting something, I consider that a shot. And fire produces heat. Shot, fire, heated shot. Makes sense, right? So you're in the game and you want your shots to be heated, and you go to the university and there's a technology that is glowing red. And you click that technology and then suddenly nothing happens. There's no change whatsoever. That's because heated shot does not make your arrows turn to fire. Heated shot increases the amount of damage that your castles and towers do versus ships. The amount of times that I have seen heated shot researched on a map where there is no water, where there is no possible way to make ships, is just insane. And I completely understand it because of the natural flow of things in a game. Sometimes you see what the opponent's doing and say, hey, I want to do that too. The upgrade that you actually have to research, by the way, in order to get the fire on your arrows would be chemistry. And if you put these icons all side by side, after chemistry is researched, you can then make bombard cannons, which is the same thing that shows on the ballistics icon, which again, doesn't actually do anything for gunpowder. I don't know if it's chemistry's fault, or if it's ballistics' fault, or if it's heated shot's fault, but these three technologies and the way they work in the game, very confusing and big things that people struggle with, and I remember struggling with when I started playing. So those are, in my opinion, the most confusing technologies in Age of Empires 2. Now, that is not to say there's not more things about this game are confusing. There are more in-depth things that I could discuss, and we could maybe make another video for. But I wanted to condense a list of 5 core things that are the most confusing about this game, and tell me what you guys think about it. It's actually crazy to me now, recording this video, that some of these icons, specifically ballistics, heated shot, and chemistry, have stayed the same for so long, because some of it's just straight up misleading. Then again, it is a really old game, and I think it would confuse people even further who have learned it if those icons change. And yeah, you could read it when you're in the game and maybe get an idea for what it is. But in a small way, it almost feels like someone was trolling when they made this. Or I don't know, maybe they never expected there'd be a community this big 20 some years after the game came out. But, anyways, let me know your thoughts, guys. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. It's been great to see so many new people come into the game this year and all these lovely comments in the section below. If there are more technologies that are confusing for you, more things that you think we should investigate, I will absolutely put it on my list of things to do. I will absolutely plan on doing another video on this as long as you guys find it interesting. So if you found it interesting, let me know. Like the video, and do not, for the love of God, research heated shot on a land map. Don't do it. I know you want to. I know it looks cool. I know you want to research all the technology. Just stop doing it. I see it too many times. Guys, stop. Please, stop. Okay, goodbye.